Justice with Judge Mablean will be life, because in everything we do, it involves the law. You came to court to testify about what you heard, what you saw, and what you know.
She's fair.
I don't have a hearing problem. This ear works good. This one works even better.
She's firm.
I'm not responsible for that ticket, and I'm not going to pay for it.
Who says you're not going to pay for it? I make that decision, not you.
She's honest.
What you have to say?
All I have to
Nothing.
say.
This is Justice with Judge Mablean. Laura Shello is suing Dean Thomas White in the amount of $20,000. Ms. Shello claims the school her daughter attended changed their bathroom policy, and Mr. White refuses to refund the tuition she paid. Mr. White claims the contract that the plaintiff signed clearly states no refunds will be given, no matter the circumstance.
In the matter of Laura Shello?
Correct.
Versus Dean Thomas White, I understand that you're the mother of a student. You want to ask for a refund of your $20,000 tuition because the rules changed at the school and the rules that you're not too happy with.
That's correct.
So tell me about it.
We enrolled my daughter, Marissa, in the fall of last year at Wish Hope Academy, and at the time we were aware of their policy of diversity, their embracing policy, which is part of the reason we wanted to enroll our daughter in the school. My husband is African American, Marissa is a mixed race child and had faced some prejudice in the last, had trouble making friends on some occasions, and we wanted a diverse and embracing school. And this is also a very prestigious school. It's very sought after. You actually have to have a referral in order to get in. So
wow.
we jumped through all the hoops. We went to all of the meet and greets, and we got her in, and we made the first payment for tuition, $25,000.
And tell me, she's in kindergarten?
No, she's 13.
Oh, okay. At least she's middle school.
Yes. So correct. So 7th grade. And her first year was going very well. She was making friends, doing very well in her classes, star of the soccer team, star of cross country, and everything was going great. And then the end of her semester rolled around December. They sent us a notification saying that if we were to pay early for next year's tuition, we would get a 20% discount, so a $5,000 discount. So this was substantial for us because I myself am a social worker. My husband's a bank teller. We don't make a lot of money. And so it was tough enough for us to pay the tuition.
And you're paying $20,000 tuition per year?
Correct.
Wow. That's what you call parental sacrifice.
We wanted the best for our child. And so we actually took out a loan in order to make the early tuition payment and get the $5,000 discount. And we made the payment. And everything was going great. Marissa seemed happy at school. And then summer rolled around, and we started getting these flyers in the mail, different, notifications. And one of them notified us of this new bathroom policy, which we had not been previously made aware of.
And what was that?
This bathroom policy essentially states that any boy or girl may choose which bathroom or locker room they would like to use based on the gender that they feel. And
so it's the transgender policy where the children select or decide which of the genders they identify with?
That's correct. And my husband and myself having our own, beliefs and convictions, we did not feel this was appropriate. We felt this would open the door to a potential abuse from other children. And so we called the school to verify, so we made sure that we understood what the policy was. And they told us that we could voice our opinion at a parent forum. And we did this, and we were treated with disrespect. We were scoffed at. They looked at me like I had 5 heads when I tried to voice my opinion. And so we were essentially...
When you mean they, are you talking about the school or other parents?
The school board and other parents.
Okay.
And so we were treated as though our opinion was not valued, was not respected, and essentially ignored. And so,
Or that they disagreed with your opinion. How about that?
I suppose, yeah, you could see it. They disagreed. Regardless, we did not feel that our opinion was heard. And lo and behold, 3 weeks into the school year, Marissa comes home from school very confused because a boy was in the girls' locker room while she was playing soccer. And so she was very confused by this. And so...
Did you explain the policy?
The policy was explained. They had a school assembly to explain the policy, yes.
Okay. And so now what you want?
Because this policy was not in effect when we paid tuition, I would like a refund of, and I understand the tuition policy that it's non-refundable, but if I had been made aware of this policy before I paid tuition, I would not have enrolled my daughter in the school. So I would like a refund of my tuition.
Okay. What about you, Mr.? Are you the dean, the owner? What's your role at the school?
Yes, ma'am. I'm Dean Thomas White with the Wish Hope Academy. We're a school about inclusion, and we're very selective with the kids that we allow to come to the school. As you've heard, it is not a cheap school. It is definitely not a public school. It's a private school with a private set of rules and policies. And these policies are made aware and signed for and understood by all the parents and all the children before anything is put into place. So no one's put into awkward situations.
So
like
you said they're
right
made
here.
aware and signed for by all the parents and all the students? So all the parents signed for this the second year?
Well, they
Or
signed.
did you just change it?
They signed that they understood the policies of inclusion, meaning that as our student body grows, we're going to have more and more and more transgender students. So we
Well,
need
a
to.
policy of inclusion could mean a lot of things. It doesn't necessarily mean that. So is that what you're basing it on because you said we have a policy of inclusion?
No, ma'am. We're basing it on more of an umbrella term of our policy of inclusion, where we got specific with it. We understood it wasn't my decision alone. You know, we have a board of trustees that's teachers and parents that come together to make these decisions, and that's what we all decided on. And we knew that these things are going to come up, and that's why we have these forums, so the parents can come in, and we've selected these kids, and we know
so
their
the
parents.
forum you had to discuss the policy, it was a change from the first year, was it not?
That is correct.
Okay, and so the forums that you held between the parents and the children before you changed the policy, was it before or after the policy was changed?
Both. We had before forums to try to detail what the policy is and certain contingency plans on certain things that we might see happen if we were to put this into place.
Were you made aware of the forum before?
Yes and no, because there were so many forums, so many after-school meetings that I work. I don't have time to attend them all, so I didn't know the specific points they were discussing at each meeting.
They didn't give you an agenda?
I didn't read every single agenda.
Coming up on Justice with Judge Mablean.
It's about to be a policy at every school in the nation. You're going to have to talk to your daughter and explain to her the facts of life.
And later,
The food came to the table and Julia knocked her wine glass over and it ruined my phone.
we're back with the case of Laura Shello, who is suing Dean Thomas White for breach of contract.
Okay, let me see your policy with respect to tuition reimbursement.
I don't have that with
Do
me.
you
It's a-
have it?
I don't have the policy related to tuition. I have the receipt here, which does not explicitly state. No, it does. It does state non-refundable. So it's,
Let
it's
me see
here.
what it says.
It's here on the receipt.
You raised a specific concern. He addressed your concern. Yet now you still want your money back.
My daughter was no longer happy. We pulled her from the school. We put her in public school.
Okay.
She was no longer happy
And guess
at the
what?
school.
That's going to become a policy at public school. And then what you going to do? It's about to be a policy at every school in the nation. You're going to have to talk to your daughter and explain to her the facts of life.
If we had our money, if it wasn't being held hostage
Your money is not being
by
held
Dean
hostage.
White, I could enroll my daughter in a Catholic school, but I can't do that because
Okay.
I can't get my
and
tuition
you keep
back.
talking about. No, you can't get your money back because of the fact that I don't like to keep repeating myself, but you paid non-refundable. You knew the policy was changed before you put her in for the fall semester. You waited for 3 weeks. When you went to the meeting in the summer before school began, that was the time to address that issue. You let her go to school,
I
and
did
now you
address
want
the
to pull her
issue.
out.
I did address the issue.
Okay. You didn't ask then, can I have my money back from the early tuition I paid?
Not at that point, no.
Okay, but if you did like the policy, why wouldn't you raise that issue then? I don't want her there in September.
She was happy at the school. We didn't want to disrupt.
See what I mean? You keep going over your daughter. She was happy out of it.
But
You're
that
a parent.
was before
You're a
the
parent.
incident.
You were against it, you said. You didn't like the idea. So then the parent has to make a decision. But my daughter says, I don't want to leave. I don't want it to be disrupted. Now you're going with what the child says. What you going to do? The child or you?
But you, But surely, Your Honor, you can understand not wanting to pull a daughter
surely
from
I can
a school that
understand
she's
that,
happy at.
I can surely understand that as a parent, we sometimes have to make decisions that our children don't like. And no, I wouldn't want to make my children unhappy. But if I have to, I do, which I did. When my child didn't want to leave Hollywood High School playing football and we moved outside the city, did I want to pull him? No. When he wasn't going to class, you getting pulled. You can like me or not. I'm not doing that. I'm not taking that drive. We make decisions all the time as parents that our children don't like and that hurt, especially a 13-year-old. She doesn't know what's best. She knows what she doesn't like. And it's up to us to educate our children and to bring them in and to help them understand life. Life. And it can't always be the way we want it, and it can't always be what we like. That's not reality.
I understand that.
Okay,
but
judgment for the defendant.
Judge Mablean has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's claim has been dismissed.
I deserve a refund. This policy was implemented after I paid tuition. This is only the beginning of your problems.
Our education platform hasn't changed. We hope you and your daughter find a place where you can feel accepted.
Coming up.
The food came to the table and Julia knocked her wine glass over and it ruined my phone.
Network featuring dynamic judges and live legal programming.
Well, we're not at your school, we're in my courtroom.
Unique court shows.
Where is any information about the company?
Live legal news.
That's what you should have done.
And a commitment to justice.
Either you tried or you did it.
The next generation of court programming in one dynamic network. Justice Central. You're watching Justice Central. Stay tuned. You're watching Justice with Judge Mablean. Heather King is suing Julia Thomas in the amount of $2,300. Ms. King claims Ms. Thomas pressured her to put her cell phone in a phone stack during their dinner, which led to a broken phone and a lost job. Ms. Thomas claims she was just trying to have a peaceful dinner with Ms. King and is not responsible for the accident or the plaintiff getting fired.
In the matter of Heather King versus Julia Thomas, Ms. King is suing Miss Thomas for $2,300 for wage loss and damage to one of those wonderful little creatures called a smartphone. Tell me about it. In a phone stack case, tell me.
So, Your Honor, Julia and I have been friends for a long time. My name is Heather King. Julia and I have been friends for a long time, since undergrad, and we went to dinner recently, and she has this thing called a phone stack where we have to stack our phones in the center of the table during our meal so that we can connect with one another. This is something that she likes to do, and but for me, it is difficult because of the job that I had at the time, which was very, very stressful and required me to be available to my phone at all times for my boss. And so the night that we had dinner, she asked me to place my phone in the center of the table, and I did not want to. I let her know that I was expecting a call from my boss. It was very, very important. I had to pick an important client up from the airport, and she and our 4 other friends just kept pressuring me and kept pressuring me. So finally, I put the phone in the center of the table. We started to have a lovely meal. It was Chinese food, family style. The food came to the table, and Julia knocked her wine glass over, and it ruined my phone. It totally shut my phone off. It wouldn't come back on. I had to go to 2 different phone stores to try to find a new phone, which she did not offer to pay for, to replace, knowing that it was very important to me for my job. By the time that I got my phone handled and got a new phone, my boss called. She was very upset. The client came to the airport early. I missed it. I lost my job, and my mind, all of my everything was lost in that phone. And so today I am suing her for damages to my phone and also for the weeks that I was without work because I had to go search for a job, and now I'm a waitress.
Well, how many weeks were you without work?
3 weeks.
And what kind of work did you do before?
Before that, I was a fashion assistant to a very prominent fashion designer in Los Angeles, and I loved my job. It was my dream job. And unfortunately, that night, everything ended for me.
And how much did the phone cost?
The phone cost $500, Your Honor.
coming up.
The wine tipping over is an accident. Things happen. When you're putting your phone in the center of a table, you know there's food, there's drink, anything could happen.
We're back with the case of Heather King, who is suing Julia Thomas for property damage and lost wages.
Your idea to phone stack, right?
Right.
Your insistence to phone stack.
Well,
Based upon what I read in the pre-case, you're the leader of this pack. And everybody follows your lead.
I am the one who organized the dinner, but all of our other friends were saying that Heather should finally put her phone down and pay attention to the people she was with. Since she wasn't going to have to report to her boss for several hours, she should have some time to herself. The wine tipping over is an accident. Things happen. When you're putting your phone in the center of a table, you know there's food, there's drink, anything could happen.
But you know that, and it's your rule to put it in the center of the table.
Right.
You have an accident, damage her phone. She doesn't have a phone, doesn't have a job, and you think it's just an accident.
Right, because
you should have had it on the top.
Because things happen.
So if you had damaged Mary's phone or Susie's phone or any of the other person's phone that had been on top, you would have had the same feeling?
No, because I think they're all reasonable people and we wouldn't be in the courtroom right now because they would have known that things happen to phones, they would have had a warranty on it, or they would have sucked up the cost and realized that it was their mistake to not insure something so important to them.
Well, I'm going to let you suck up this cost. It's your mistake not to spill wine. It's your mistake not to be careful since you do things so perfectly all the time and hold your glass in a manner such that you don't spill it on the phone because you know all those phones are there.
I should not be responsible for 3 weeks of her pay.
Well, maybe you think that you shouldn't be, but I disagree.
For 3 weeks of her pay?
Well, you're going to pay for that phone.
Judge Mablean's verdict when Justice with Judge Mablean returns.
It was an accident. And when things are an accident, sometimes you have to pay for it.
Well,
if I have an accident and break something at someone's house, usually I'll replace it. That's what most reasonable people do. If I break your glass, I'm going to replace it.
Your Honor, we tried to remedy the situation. I offered to drive her to get to the new store to get a phone.
That means she got to pay for a new phone. That doesn't change that.
Well, we also told her that she could either check her voicemail from our phones or if she could send her boss an email from our phone.
Okay, here's what you are. You want things done your way. You want to be in total control of how things should go and what people should or should not do. You're playing God that she shouldn't be on the boss. And now, I hate people talking on the phone when we're having dinner too. I really do. But you also have a choice. Don't eat with them.
That she could have not eaten with me.
Yeah, but you have a choice too. I hate that. I get that. I think it's rude. I think it's inconsiderate. But this woman had a particular incident. I think she could have kept her phone and left it on vibrate and then stepped out of the room when she received the phone call. But in compliance with her friends, you got to learn not to take the pressure of friends, she did that. You had the accident and spilled it and caused the damage to her phone. You pay for that.
But I'm not paying for 3 weeks that she went without
you know what?
work.
I wasn't going to order you to do it, but now that you're telling me what you're not going to do, yes, you are. Pay that too. Judgment for the plaintiff.
Judge Mablean has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant is ordered to pay $2,300.
I'm sorry it had to come to this, but you knew what that job meant to me.
I'm glad you lost your job. You didn't have a life, and now you'll have one, but I won't be in it.